Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. We are continuing our previews to the IPL 2021 season, the team previews. Today we will be talking about the Delhi Capitals, a team that had 10 poor seasons in the IPL, I think. It was just apart from one when Sehwag came into the semi-finals. Apart from that, when Deccan Chargers beat them in the semis, I think they have really found it hard. But in the last two seasons, this team has been a revelation. Since Ricky Ponting has taken over, they've gone in, they've stuck to the basics, they've stuck to their Indian core. Their Indian youngsters have stepped up as well, and a lot of these players have made the Indian team as well. And then they've reached third in 2019, second in 2020, and they look like a side who can probably finish first in 2021. This is looking like a strong side. Mustian will be analyzing the team. Musti, your thoughts on the team?
Yeah, I mean, big news is that their captain won't be available for the season.
Of course,
a big blow for them. I think they backed him 1.5 years ago. It was they took a risk and it paid off. Like you said, they made the playoffs and then last year they made the final. So they've improved every season since then. So I think it was a good move to back Shreyas Iyer, and he was performing with the bat. That was important. He was the leading run scorer last season as well. They will miss him a lot, but I think it's Rishabh Pant's time. He's a Delhi boy. He represents Delhi in domestic, and he's in the form of his life, I think. So it'll be very interesting to see how this team goes. I think they have an excellent bowling lineup, and you saw that it helps a lot. Yes, they fell short against a magnificent Mumbai side, but if they keep on playing like this, they will push that door down, and I think they will win a trophy eventually. Yeah, let's see how it goes. I think a few players need to step up. It looks like a good team. Really excited to see them play. But yeah, apart from that, I think Akshar Patel as well is going to miss a few games because of COVID, so we'll have to watch out for that. But apart from that, a very good team. I think we'll look at the strengths and weaknesses, and ideal 11 we'll know more about them. But I think right now, on paper, it's one of the top teams in the IPL.
I think so too. And you mentioned missing on Shreyas Iyer. As much as a blow it is, I feel like they have their bases covered. I think that they've gone in the auction. They've done smart business. They bought in Rahane, who was a very able backup. They bought in Steve Smith, but then they have to tinker around with the foreigners a little bit. But they have the likes of Steve Smith who can play in a number 3 and really take the opposition, take the game to the opposition. So I think that even though he scored more than 500 runs in the last season, I think that his value, of course, will be missed, but it won't be as terrible as
it's the strike rate though. Like, he'll play quicker than Rahane, and it's just he's been the face of Delhi, so it will be an impact. But I understand they do have backups there. But when you're like following a certain kind of pattern and you've been successful, suddenly the main piece in the jigsaw, like the captain, is not there. It could go up and down. I'm not saying it will, because they, like you said, they do have backups, but it is a blow nonetheless, because he's your captain, he's your leader, you've been backing him, he's doing well, and you're actually improving every year. So it could disturb the piece, but at the same time, you're right. They have backup. They have Ajinkya Rahane. They have Steve Smith, but so we'll see how it goes. But I liked how they backed Rishabh Pant. In my opinion, Rahane could have been captain, but that shows, they want to go with someone young who's going to play every single game guaranteed. So you can see their thinking. They're backing their young Indian players, and their lineup looks like that as well. They back young Indian talent. That's what they rely on.
Absolutely. I think I agree with you. It was a smart decision to give Rishabh Pant the captaincy, giving that confidence to him that they back him as a player, and he is a Delhi boy and for the long-term future as well, So that's a good sign. Yes, I agree with you that in an important part of the puzzle in the batting order is missing, but from when I was working on the 11, I just felt like they wouldn't miss him as terribly as maybe some like a RCB losing Virat or something of the sort, So that would be a bigger blow in my opinion. Or almost any other team losing a big player would be a big deal, but for them to lose their captain is probably not the worst thing that could have happened. I mean, in terms of like they like for them, maybe losing a Rabada would be a little bit more tricky for them, I thought. But that's just my opinion. It's just I'm not taking anything away from the fact that Shreyas Iyer has been phenomenal for this side for the past 2 years. It's just that his 500 runs can be covered by some other people who are suddenly starting to look really, really good.
Fair enough.
The likes of Dhawan, who he knows that he has to perform in this IPL. Only then he's probably going to get a ticket to the T20 World Cup, because he's not a regular starter now in the T20 World Cup. The likes of Shaw, who was dropped and has suddenly looked astonishingly good in the domestic season. He's just gone on and scored load of runs. There's the likes of Pant, who's suddenly looking a completely different player, wicketkeeper. So they have the backup, and they have the likes of Stoinis and Hetmeyer, the power hitters who can finish games off. There's a lot of options available, and that's what I thought Delhi has done well over the past 2-3 seasons, and is paying dividends now, I think. So it's good for them, I think.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree with you.
In terms of the strengths and the weaknesses, I think the strength remains the quality of the side in terms of batting, bowling. They have all the bases covered. They have a good Indian core. They have very good foreigners. They have some spectacular bowling. So I just felt like the unit has been built very, very well, which is unbelievably good. I mean, it's just one of the top quality, well built sides. A lot like how some of the more consistent sides are looking. The likes of Mumbai, the likes of Hyderabad. These are the consistent sides in the past 5 or 6 seasons, and that's how this Delhi side looks as well. So that consistency, the batting order is good, the bowling order is pretty good, and that's they showed last season as well. So those are the strengths. I think they have a very well-oiled machine. I think that it's being coached very well by the likes of Ricky Ponting as well. So that's in my opinion, a very, very good sign for Delhi. Your thoughts?
I think you got it spot on. If you look at the team, they really don't have a weakness. It looks like they're strengthened team, but I think it depends on form. Last season, Prithvi Shaw was not in form, so that caused them a lot of problems at the top. Their firepower. I think Iyer and Pant weren't performing to their best. Dhawan was performing really well, but they need the likes of Pant, Stoinis, Hetmeyer to perform, because they perform at a high strike rate. So they'll need that to go their way. Their bowling, Rabada, Nokia, they were outstanding last season, but will they carry the same form this season? That's a question. They have Ashwin and Akshar Patel, a lot of experience. Yes, Akshar Patel might miss a few games, but still they have Ashwin there. They have experience in the middle overs as well. But will these boys be in form? Can they gel together as a unit? They did for most of last season. So I think, again, they will compete, and they'll cause a lot of problems for opposition teams. But then it's the form as well. They need form on their side, and I think Shaw will play a huge role. Like you said, Syed Mushtaq Ali, he was killing it. Vijay Harazare was killing it. He was captaining as well. So I think if he's in form, it'll help him. It'll help Delhi a lot as well. He's a good aggressive batsman. Apart from that, maybe the third seamer could be their weakness, but they still have experience there. They have Umesh Yadav, Ishant Sharma. I'm sure they can do something and get those 4 overs done. They're still experienced bowlers. They've played Test cricket. Yes, this is a different format. So overall, not many weaknesses in this team. You can target the third seamer, maybe the spinner, but apart from that, I think it's a really solid team. It just depends on form. And Iyer not there. How does Rahane step up? If Smith plays, how does he play?
Yeah, I think you're right. That's probably the weakness in my opinion as well. Like, the fact of how you're gonna see Rahane perform, if he can perform at number 3 and bring in that role, and if he's not performing, then bring in Smith, and then you might have to let go of Hetmeyer, who's been very good for you as well. So
the
that
issue
would be
there
the
is
problem.
Dhawan plays similar to Rahane's role, so that's the issue. So if Dhawan can be a bit more aggressive, given that confidence that Rahane is there to stabilize, then maybe it can go well that way.
I think last season when Shaw was under pressure, I think Dhawan was taking a lot of pressure on himself. But if Shaw can get a few flyers, I think that will take a lot of pressure off Dhawan, and he 100%. Can also play his natural game. And like you mentioned, the third seamer has been a problem last season. They tried so many options. They tried every bowler that they had in the tank. I think there were a few games with Tushar Deshpande. There were a few games of Avish Khan, if I'm not wrong. There were a couple here and there. But I think the fact that they hopefully have a fully fit Ishant Sharma would help that third seamer option, and a bowler with experience in Umesh Yadav. These two are decent options for them to consider. So that's probably what they'll go for. And in the spin department as well, they have backup in Amit Mishra, who missed out last season. Who missed out part of last season, I think. He played a couple of games, but then he had to leave early or something. So I think that they have their bases covered. They don't. They have whatever the weaknesses are. They have what needs to be taken care of. It's just a matter of players going out there and performing to the best of their ability, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's what it is. Form and ability. Yeah, they have to be in form, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's going to be the key. But I think going to the ideal 11, for me, I've picked Rahane in my ideal 11. But there is always a capability of bringing in Smith and dropping Hetmeyer and Rahane, and maybe bringing in a Indian lower order batsman who can tonk it around a little bit. They have a couple of options there as well. But for my ideal 11, I've gone with Dhawan, Shaw, Rahane at 3, Pant at 4, Hetmeyer at 5, Stoinis at 6, Akshar at 7, Ash at 8, I have Ishant at 9 and finish it off with Nautier and Rabada.
Yeah, I have the same. I just batting order. I put Rabada above Ishant, and I
Right,
put
of course.
Stoinis above Hetmaier. But this is. I just wanted to tell everyone that this ideal 11 is probably the ideal 11, the best 11 that they can play. But the first couple of games, I don't think they can play this because Rabada and Nokia will have to quarantine.
Exactly.
Akshar Patel COVID, so he
Is
also has to
COVID.
quarantine.
Yeah.
So I think, the ideal 11 you're giving, this is the strongest 11, and if they do make the playoffs, this was the 11 I think that should play. I completely agree with you. It's the same. It's just the order is different.
Yeah, I mean that I didn't look at. I mean, of course, I wouldn't have Rabada at 11. Ishant would probably be my
Yeah,
number 11.
yeah.
But this is just the batting and bowling was what I was
Yeah,
looking
and
for.
Stoinis can be according to the match situation. If they're chasing 200, put Stoinis one down, bring Rahane down the order. I think that's possible as well. They can be flexible. And
Yeah,
Stoinis and Hetmaier to go ham. If they can strike at 150 plus consistently, score 30, 40 runs, I think it'll do Delhi a world of good. And bat around Rishabh Pant if he continues his form. It'll be amazing. It just goes to show, man. They have like you said, backup options. They have Sam Billings, they have Tom Curran, they have Steve Smith. A lot of options. Chris Wokes is there as well. I think last season he didn't come, but he's still there in
yeah,
this season in the squad.
yeah.
I don't know if he's going to play or not, but they have a
He'll
lot of
probably play a couple of games initially when Naughty and Rabada are probably
yeah.
quarantining.
Yeah, so they have a lot of options. They have Indian options, like you said, Mishra, they have Avesh Khan. So they have a lot of options. So I think it's a really good squad. It's just how they gel as a unit. And you saw that even though they lost the finals, they were a very consistent team in the group stages as well.
Absolutely, I think is the fact that this time around, I think that Pant was having a indifferent kind of season back in. Now he's probably in a very different mindset. The likes of Shaw we discussed is looking incredibly good in the domestic season. For him to bring it up in the IPL would be the challenge. But if he can, I think that this team is going to look very very good, and that is probably my player to watch out for.
Yeah,
I think for me, Shaw. I think
yeah.
if Prithvi Shaw can take it,
Thank God you didn't
can
say
take his
Ashwin.
batting to
You
his.
always say Ashwin every game, every season, every
But
match.
what's interesting is that I was thinking a player to watch out for. You kind of expect the likes of Ashwin to do well. I expect the likes of Stoinis to do well. So for me, I always try to pick the player who's probably I'm who's probably going under the radar a little bit, and then he can come out and really really shine, and that would be ideal. It would be best to see that. We'll see how it goes, of course. But for me, I think if Prithvi Shaw can take the season by storm, I think Delhi will go very, very far.
I read something about Ponting saying that he wanted to take Shaw in the nets, but Shaw said no, I don't want to go. I don't know if that was true or not, but I just feel that that's a really good idea. Take him to the nets, let him play Rabada and Nokia consistently, and see work on it, because I think his biggest issue is the ball coming in. A lot of batsmen do struggle with it, but he has two solid bowlers in his team. I think he needs to just keep practicing, and he's a very talented batsman. He had a very bad season last year, but he's shown that he can fight back. That means he has the mental strength, and I'm sure he'll have a good IPL. But if things do go south, he has those bowlers in the nets who can help him out. So I think practice makes perfect. Let's see how
that is going to be key. I think he can't get in. He can't let these Vijay Hazare scores get in his head.
Yeah.
I think he'll have to go out there and perform, because he's going to play against the world's best. I mean, this is the best league in the world. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to. It's not going to be A-listers or the players trying to get into the Indian team. This is going to be the players who are already in the Indian team and players who are already in parts of all the other teams as well and are very very good. So it's going to be very important for him to step it up as well over there. And if he can, I think that's my player to watch out for. Yours?
Rishabh Pant on the radar, the guy who everyone's going to look at. Captaincy, batting, keeping, everything. I just want to see everything. He's improved his keeping. His batting is sensational. And captaincy, I don't know how he captains. So let's see how that goes. I'm going to see all three aspects. And, we saw KL Rahul do it last season. Rishabh Pant has work cut out, but he's a young guy, a lot of energy. He chirps a lot. So I think he can handle it, but it'll be very interesting to see how he does it. Like, does he keep his calm? Does he lose his calm? When things go a bit south, that's what you want to see, right? Like how you handle the pressure situations. So I'm very interested to see Rishabh Pant.
Absolutely. And will they make the top four?
Man, yes, but I didn't have them in my top four.
After this discussion, I feel like I've changed your mind.
Yeah, I don't have them in my top four, and I don't know. My top four is very weird. It's kind of different, kind of unique. But I don't have them top four, but I don't see them Mumbai not making the top four. But I'm hope they don't, and then I'll tell everybody I was right. I've been wrong every season. In my opinion, they'll make the top four. Tougher, yeah, because I think squad is really good. The only thing is if they like, 3, 4 of the players really have a bad season, like really
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
season. You
yeah.
saw like Shaw had a terrible season, they still made the finals, so
That's what I'm saying.
and
Yeah,
I didn't see one like crazy punt innings. I didn't see a crazy like a year, yeah, he had 180, 90, but apart from that, it was like 30, 40s here. Everyone chipped in, and that's the key in this team. Everyone chips
yeah.
in, and when you have death bowlers like that and opening bowlers like that, Rabada and Nokia, it makes it very difficult for opposition teams. So
Of
they need
course.
to be maybe injury could be an issue, but apart from that, I think a solid team. And Umesh Yadav, I would bowl him in the power play so that
Yeah,
one of these guys can because Umesh leaks runs in the death overs we've seen with
yeah.
ours. So I think I would open him with the new ball, him or Ishant Sharma, and then play Rabada and Nokia, keep them in the death overs.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. And the likes of the spin and guile of Ash and Akshar in the middle,
Yeah,
who will probably be very high on confidence
yeah.
as well. So yeah, looking forward to this how this team performs. And
Bold
catch you later.
prediction, bold prediction. Ashwin to get the purple cap and make his way into the Indian team.
Slightly unlikely, but sure.
But yeah, I think you covered all bases.
Yep, looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much.